Welcome to the Good Karma Sport Fishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Super excited about the new course. I am going to share what I've been doing this year. Something that I have not shared in any previous groups, any private communities. These are new tactics that I've been using this year to catch wahoo. So I've got some new baits that I'm using. I've got some new techniques. I have some special stuff that I'm going to show in this new course that I'm releasing. So along with that, I'm going to teach the guys where, when, and why. They're going to get images, GPS coordinates. I want the guys that sign up for my courses to be successful. So I'm going to give them the tools that they need to go out there and catch fish. Now, I'm going to give these guys all the tools that they need, including GPS coordinates, where to be, why, when, where. That's what's going to happen. So in this new course. So what are you guys waiting for? Waiting for it's too late? I don't know. Waiting, if you got a new boat, you think it's all going to magically happen out there? Well, I got news for you. It's not. So I created these courses for guys that want to get involved and really want to learn and cut through the learning curve and all the bullshit out there. So the price goes up Saturday. I've got an early bird special. It's $50 for 8 weeks. You get to ask the questions that you want to ask. There you go. I'm going to tell you. So what are you waiting for? It's windy. You guys are cruising through all those YouTube videos. So much, like the smoke and mirrors is crazy. I see guys reading off Chat GPT now. They got teleprompters. They're reading it word for word. Oh my God. Listen, everything I do comes straight from the heart. I give it to you straight up. My blogs. I have my corporate, when I was in the corporate world, I worked in the pharmaceutical world. I did a lot of technical writing. That's what I did. So I really enjoyed the writing part of my job and the technical writing part and all that good shit. So that's why I write. I do it because I really love to do it, and I love technical writing, and with a little bit of story in there. So, but everything in the blogs is right there for you guys to go through. No bullshit. Go in, take a look at it. All good. I really appreciate you guys that have signed up so far, and the feedback I'm getting is phenomenal, and I'm so happy that it's like I'm giving guys going beyond the basics, and that's what I want. So these guys are doing the work, less time watching bullshit, and more time learning how to go out there and do it on their own and catch fish without booking a private guide or a fishing charter. So listen, I want you guys to catch fish. I do my absolute best to give you guys some good content. Let's get on with the podcast stuff here. I want to teach you guys about some things, little tips that I do as far as how I'm, it's going to be rough out there. It's going to be a rough spring, but you can still get out there and troll on days when it's 2 to 3 and, and do that kind of stuff, because there will be some nice dolphin pushing through. It happens every year. We're going to get a push. We've already seen some early pushes. So my guess it's going to happen here, the new moon coming up here next week. So that's, whenever that is. So I don't have my calendar up. Just pull up, look where the new moon's at, and start making your plans, because that's probably when we're going to see the next push of nice big dolphins. So areas you need to focus on, who knows, man. They could be anywhere on the reef. They could be out to 750. Out past the Islamorada Hump, out to the sword grounds. It's just that time of year. So within the new course, I'm going to give people GPS coordinates of where to look, and where to find them, like good starting spots. And this is good for people that really are just new. Dolphin come back to the same areas. I teach them where the upwellings are, where shit just happens. So, and I'm just going to give them the coordinates to start, because I don't give a shit. So you still got to catch the fish. That's all. Now, it's a little rougher out there. It always is in the spring, and there's less weed this year. I'm looking on the satellite charts. I'm just not seeing it way down there. So is it going to be a weedy spring? Is it not? We're always going to have some weed, but it's hard to say what's going to happen this year. I just don't see it on the charts. I belong to this one group. They really look at stuff down in Mexico, and I am just not seeing it. We'll see what happens. Last year it showed up pretty good. Like right now, it was here, but it's just not here yet. So, and I just don't see it on the charts. I watched it. Like I said, I monitor these groups, and they're not reporting a lot. So who knows? Talk about that down the road. Okay, windy weather. So a couple things that I like to do, and I learned this trick several years ago, and I like to run Ballyhoo for big dolphin. It's just, big dolphin just don't eat everything. They just don't eat artificials. Don't believe that shit. Those are just guys that are really too lazy to rig a Ballyhoo or don't know how, or guys that are like just got used to putting bonito strips out and and daisy chains. Now daisy chains work. I love the Sea Spook daisy chains, amazing stuff. But there is a time and place that you will need to put some Ballyhoo in there because they're chasing flyers. So the big tunas love small dink Ballyhoos. Okay, they really love them. So, but in the wind, it's a little tougher, and you have to have a smaller sea witch over the top of that Ballyhoo, or you run it plain or whatever with a chin weight. So, yes, you do add the chin weight when it's like, let's say for example, it's pretty rough and your baits are going everywhere. Sometimes you'll get a northeast and that one your starboard side bait wants to swing to the left, and it's all over the joint. And so here's what I've done to combat that stuff is, number one, I learned this several years ago, is, you take just one of those, just take a little sinker, like a 1 ounce sinker. There's a couple things you can do, and you got to get the bait tail weighted. Okay. Tail weight. The bait has to be tail weighted to where it's like, you have it chin weighted, but it needs to be weighted in the ass as well. So without getting too, whatever, I'm just going to tell you, you just got to stick a sinker into that fish's ass and get it tail weighted, or you figure out a way to tie it. I honestly, you just take a lead core, like a one of those removable weights. I think it's like a rubber lead core weight, like a worm, like a freshwater weight. And the guys use that in sail fishing as well. I've used them, and then you just plug it in there, and you can get like a 1 ounce in there, 2 ounce, 1.5 in there, and then that tail weights your bait. Or you can use you can use split sinkers. But anyways, that tail has to be weighted. Okay. And also too, you can weight that Ballyhoo by adding like some sort of liquid scent to it. You can also, you can dip some foam into some scent, and then what that'll do is that with the foam, it'll make it a little bit heavier, and then you can stick the foam inside the fish as well, and then that'll weight it down. You can soak that. Anyways, you can soak that fish in whatever type of sauce you want, whether that be like Menhaden. That's how I learned. I had a guy show me that was from the Carolinas, and that's what they do up there. And they add Menhaden oil to it, and it weights it down. And yeah, you just got to add some juice to it, get it heavy. So that's one trick. And then I always talk to you guys about, one of my previous podcasts, I talked to you guys about how I run a piece of Dacron in like Jerry Brown hollow core in between my braid and my mono for hookups. I've been doing that for several years now, and I also use it as a weight bridle for mutton fishing. So what I do the same thing when I troll, but what I do differently is I'll run my mono, because when I troll with a mono top shot. But from my mono top shot, I'll add like 10 to 15 foot of the Jerry Brown hollow core, and then from there, not even that, like 10 feet, and then I'll run from the Jerry Brown hollow core, I'll run my fluorocarbon leader 15 foot, or I'll run the mono again. Usually for trolling, it doesn't matter, but then I'll run the another 5 to 6 feet of leader in those conditions. And then what that does is it creates when Dacron or Jerry Brown hollow core gets in the water, it creates some weight, okay, and it like weighs that bait down. But what I also do is I create like a mini like it gets really a bit tricky, and this is what I'm going to teach in my new course. Is I run and I'll show the guys in this, but I'll give you a lowdown. And if you guys want to try to recreate it in your head, you can. But if you want to learn how to do this, you'll have to sign up for the new course. So what I do is I create a small bridle, release bridle for an inline weight, and I'll buy the Dr. Fish weights or the small inline weights, and then just the inline trolling leads, and I'll make a removable inline weight system similar to the removable inline trolling weights for Wahoo fishing. So, but smaller. So I just downsize that. So I'll add some lead on the front. Now you can also play with adding a removable weight using similar to the Balloon Fisher King weights, but you got to play with that a little bit. It works, but it does, like, there is a little bit of twist in there, and sometimes it does get caught, but it does work very well. That's my absolute favorite way to removable weight system for mutton fishing. Also, too, it's like having a double rig ballyhoo in that case will work. It helps keep that bait, like, it helps stabilize that bait a little bit, gives it more body, but you really got to have some motion, some tail wag, because you guys think about how a flying fish swims. His ass is in the water. So it's kind of like he's got his head up and his ass is always in the water. So if you have when that tail's weighted, it gives you a little bit more of a flying fish motion. So again, I didn't create this. I was taught this. I was showed like little nuggets from, I've had some guys I used to buy sea witches from in the long before YouTube and sea witches down here. I heard guys used to hide their sea witches. I remember Stan Ruhr, he used to hide all his sea witches when he used to run his charter up there before he sold it. So it was interesting to hear the story about how he hid all his shit for several years. And at that time, I was running sea witches as well. And a lot of guys that are out there now fished with those guys up there and learned about it. So they booked charters, and then they learned to see what they were using. So then it's funny to see all that stuff and see how things were, guys that run wire versus guys that don't run wire. Well, those guys fished with a lot of those guys. And back then you can get away with running wire more so for wahoos at a slower speed. But it just depends on the fish pressure. Even I was one of those guys too. So I've gotten away from running wire on all my, and I'm just running the long shank Seaworks hooks now. Those are available at Chris's Bait and Tackle here at Tavernier Creek Marina. I'm running those as well on my squids, on the squids. We've got some cool ass glow squids there, and some number 11s, long shank planer hooks, and those are absolutely perfect for tunas, and just in case you get bit by a wahoo or something, man. Those hooks are sharp and they last. So, and they're offset. So that's just a couple little tips there. As far as what you need, as far as blasting some fish, super light sea witches. Just, you got to go really light. And the trick is everybody wants to add more weight when it's and a bigger profile bait when it's rough out. Well, sometimes that can hurt you because you want a bait that's small, and you don't want to be fishing with a jumbo size ballyhoo out there when you're targeting dolphin. You want small dink ballyhoos is what you want, and that's what you should be fishing. Not big jumbos, unless everybody's like, oh, I'm gonna run a jumbo bait for a big fish. No. You want a 5 to 6 inch bait, small ballyhoos, and you can even add some, wings to those ballyhoos, and that's something I'm going to show the guys in the new course about how to add some wings the easy way without any bullshit. So yeah, and also too off your outriggers, or you can run these off your kingfish riggers. But the thing is, man, you got to have like control over that line. And the first thing you got to do is add some weight somehow down there when it's blowing good. When it's not windy and stuff, it's absolutely perfect. Things don't, you know, that's when it's picture perfect. Those are when you usually see the guys making their YouTube videos and, and stuff. But again, add some tail weight. You add some scent, like some heavy duty liquid in there, and weigh the ballyhoo down a little bit more. You'll have to figure that shit out. That's something if you guys want to really learn how to do it, you can buy the course and get involved with the 8 weeks, and then get involved with the question and the answer. But for you guys that want to do the work, and you can try it. Also too, when if you don't have any live bait, and guys, trolling's the easiest way. A lot of guys like to troll, and that's awesome because, just stick with what you want and what you like to do. But if you are trolling and you want to catch big tunas, the trick is that you need to just barely keep that bait in the water. So you would think that sometimes you want to run your bait way the fuck back there, and that's not necessarily the case. So you want the bait out of the water, and you don't want the line in the water. Okay, so it's similar to running a big old green stick. They don't have anything in the water. They run it way back. And what you do is you can you want that bait barely skipping and fast, and you want it like as high off that outrigger as you can get it. And what you can do is you can run your outriggers like in, and then put them out straight back, and just run one line, and then you can try to run it really high and just have it to where it's like trying to get that bait to where it's running like a green stick, meaning like it's not in the water, like a kite bait, and run it fast. All you need to do is just have it hit the water just a little bit. Those fish are looking up, and then all you need is 1 splash, 2 splash, 3 splash, and then basically have it flying out of the water, and those fish can see it, and they'll just wreck it. It looks like a flyer. So, and there's nothing in it. It's like a kite bait, man. So, and you're moving fast, and tunas like it fast. They do. They like it just as fast as the wahoos do. 10 to 12 miles an hour, I consider really good tuna speed. So that's another trick. Just run them really high off your riggers, and someday I might make a YouTube video on that, but I just really haven't had much time to do any YouTube videos lately. So I'm just recovering. I was out for surgery for a couple weeks, and I'm back at it now. So, but maybe in the future. I think that's all I got for you guys for tips today. I loaded you guys up. Go back. You have to listen to it a couple times. Dissect it. So you got to find a way to get the weight on the weighted down that ballyhoo. There's tons of shit out there. Like I said, I did this. I cannot take credit for this. I learned how to do this from somebody else. They showed me, and I have I'm very lucky that I worked with some guys that years ago that I bought, like years before sea witches were even all over the internet. I was shown some sea witches, and I bought some. And I talked about this in a podcast. But and then I started running them. I was like, I was an Islander guy, and I was buying all this shit. And then I remember this was over 10 years ago, and I remember a guy showed me, oh, you need to get some sea witches. And I was like, what the fuck? So when I looked at them, I was like, yeah, I don't think they're gonna catch anything. And I remember being out on a day fishing, and the guy I was with said, hey, did you have those sea witches? And I was like, yeah, I never tried them yet, and we weren't catching shit. And I remember we're pulling Islanders, we're pulling all this junk and all these teasers and stuff. We're going right underneath fish that wouldn't catch anything. So the guys as I was with, they said, you got those sea witches? I was like, yeah, they're sitting in my box. And I was like, I never tried them before. So this is like I think I was in the like year 1.5. And sure as shit, I put them out, and the fish started smashing them on the surface. We're going underneath the birds, and I was going underneath them with Islanders. I was going underneath them with plastic baits. And it was rough out that day. I remember it was like crazy fun, and they were smashing the blue and crystal. So I called my sea witch maker up in North Carolina, because there wasn't at the time, man. There was nobody doing it except for just a couple guys, and everybody was keeping it secret down here. And it was I remember I called the guy up north in the Carolinas, and he says, you did well, right? He says, he said, yeah, I need to have some fluorocarbon underneath it, and because then back then, the guys, nobody was using fluorocarbon over 10 years ago. It was a little different back then. So I was like, okay. So I started adding some fluorocarbon leader to it, and rather than mono, then things start to change. And he was like, okay, you need to like these little nuggets that he gave me. He was like, yeah, okay. Now when that fluorocarbon hits the deck, you need to replace that stuff because it sends off a shine. And these were tuna guys that I was buying my sea witches from at the time up north. And then there was only, like I said, there was only a couple guys making them, and that was it. Maybe two. Nobody down here was making anything. It was all like rubber shit and like Islander stuff, and then then slowly things got out, and everybody started. Then the internet came out and YouTube, and now sea witches. Everybody's making sea witches now, and I think it's awesome. And I make my own. I use the tackle room stuff. I'll put a link up in the bio. I use the UV crystal. I talk about that in my blogs. So if you guys want to buy some, you can. I'm an affiliate for the tackle room, so I appreciate that. And you guys can buy. They have the best sea witch hair because it's UV hair. It's a little stiffer, but what happens is when it goes into the water, it gives it a little bit bigger, like a bigger profile when it moves. And the stuff is amazing. It lights up. It's UV. It's like the UV blue is crazy good. UV pink. That's what the secret is. That UV pink is the secret. That's it. The fish go nuts for that shit, especially on the high speed stuff. They go absolutely crazy for the UV pink. I think that they call it the E pink. So I know guys that absolutely destroy them with the UV blue and the orange head. And then you add some, with the UV pink, you want to add the red mylar on the outside. You want a white sea witch head. And then on the UV blue, you want an all blue sea witch head, an all blue UV, and you want an orange head. Blue gives off the best silhouette, I feel, versus black. So everybody wants to use black, but really blue is what you should be using, I feel. All blue, orange head. So just try that. I've got some other shit I'll share, but I think I shared enough. I'll put some links up in the show notes. I appreciate you guys purchasing stuff through the Good Karma Fishing Tackle store to show support, buying these courses. That just helps support the Good Karma content, and you get to hear more stuff like this. So all it takes is something little that's going to make the difference out there now. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to leave the small fish for the boat behind you. Follow me on Instagram, Good Karma Sport Fishing _FL_keys. If you want to book a trip with me in April, email me. We'll go fishing. Maybe we'll catch some dolphin. Maybe we won't, but we'll still have a good time. Catch some fish. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good. Happy Easter, you guys.